Hi all, we are Chris Dumas, Rain Lee, Matt Maxwell, and this is our research on music generation using neural networks. There are currently several well-known AI projects in the field of music and audio generation. The most popular one is Magenta by Google, a TensorFlow-based project that utilizes long short-term memory recurrent neural network, generative adversarial network, and variational autoencoder. Despite variety of architecture, they all require some type of external input to generate a short sequence of music. WaveNet is another well-known audio generation project by DeepMind using CNN. However, it is limited to audio in waveform, not music composition. The earliest work include AIVA, a registered AI composer that utilizes reinforcement learning. Although high quality, requires constant human input. As you can see, none of the current architectures can produce high-quality complete songs without some type of external input periodically. If RNN-based architecture can simulate how human draws like in this clip, why can't it write songs? We were curious if there are fundamental flaws in current architectures that prevent them from generating natural-sounding music completely from scratch. In searching for answer, we decided to study RNN and GAN to see what we can find. The RNN model we choose to study is an open-source project called Deep Music. We followed Siraj Raval's YouTube tutorial and built an encoder-decoder-based LSTM network that trained on 470-plus songs of various genres. The output layer is a binary classification of the 88 keys to detect if a note is played. And the end result sounds like this. In the beginning, repetitive segment of music was common in every sample. But it slowly disappears as the training went on. The longer you train, the less disjointed the melodies become. Although there is no change of tempo, the model is able to persist a central theme over time. Despite training on different genres, the model did not Frankenstein genres together as we might expect. The GAN model we investigated was a project by a group from Academia Sinica. They proposed 3 models that would produce realistic human music. The input MIDI splits each instrument into independent tracks. Each input vector is tensor representing multiple instruments over 4 bars of time. The best sounding sample was produced by the hybrid model where each track has its own generator and the input is combined with a random noise Z vector that acts as coordinator between the tracks. The output is fed into a single discriminator to evaluate its quality. As you can hear, the music sounds incredibly complex because it is able to support multiple tracks. At first, it sounds like a masterpiece made by experienced human composer. However, if you listen closely, the segments do not coordinate well together to form a single theme as you would expect in a song. Comparing the models, we find that RNN-based model does really well at persisting a central theme of the song because of LSTM. This means that the music has a better flow from bar to bar and melodies actually connect. However, it is incapable of learning chords because the output layer is a binary classification of each note where the prediction occurs independently of each other. On the other hand, MuseGAN does really well at coordinating between tracks, which implies the capability of complex chord at each time step, but its flow of melody is limited by the input vector size, namely 4 bars time step. This limitation resulted in a series of disconnected segments that sounds great when played independently. In conclusion, we believe that LSTM has the potential to create actual song from scratch, however, it would only be limited to simple melody. GAN on the other hand, lacks temporal permanence even though it can learn complex chord, it does not learn meaningful chord progression. This conclusion led us to think that maybe a combination of LSTM and GAN, or some other novel architecture, that can preserve both temporal and spatial relationships between notes is required to produce realistic music completely from scratch. In addition, whatever this architecture come to be, it will also solve the issue with neural network in playing strategy games, generate movie with meaningful plot or anything that requires long-term planning.